Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good. Because after all, that's what we want. We just want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher. Today on the show, we're going to be visiting with Ottie McClellan of Chelan, Washington. I invited Ottie on the show because last year, she made a powerful decision to challenge herself mentally, spiritually, and physically. She signed up for a 36-hour endurance event called 29029 Everest, where she, along with others from around the country, gathered in Utah to climb the equivalent elevation of Mount Everest, which is 29,029 feet. Impressive and inspiring, which is why I have her on the show today. It's going to be a fun visit with Ottie, but before we get to that, I do want to remind you that if you have questions you would like me to answer on or off the air, email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if we use your question on the show, I'm going to send you a copy of my new best-selling book, which was just released. It's called The Practice of Feeling Good. If you've been following this show and want to learn more about personal development and take on your life more powerfully, then grab a copy of my book on Amazon. Just go to Amazon, search for The Practice of Feeling Good. And you can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com, where I have all sorts of free resources there. You don't have to figure things out on your own. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. Now, at this point in the show, I usually take time to answer an email question and offer some coaching, but today we're going to skip that part. I want to give extra time to our conversation with Ottie, so we're going to take a short commercial break, then we're going to be right back. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad you're in this conversation. As you know, I think it's a pretty important conversation. Everybody, I want to introduce you to Ottie McClellan. Ottie, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Fletcher.
Yeah. As I gave you warning ahead of time, we always start the show out with a win or something that's going well. So lay it on me. What's going well?
Oh my gosh. So I knew this was coming, like you said, and everything is going well right now. But the biggest thing, the biggest win that I've had recently is completing this 29029 Everesting challenge. So I climbed a very big mountain 7 times.
Wow, 7 times.
Yes.
Well, we're going to get into that. So you decided to do this hike. Mm-hmm. Why? What got into you? What made you think, I'm going to go climb a mountain 7 times? I'm going to climb 29,000 feet. Tell me about that.
Okay, so there's a lot of background there. The short version of a long story is that I suffered from migraine headaches for 2 years, which you know, we've talked about this in the past, and I really was pretty laid out for 2 years' time, and I was in a place mentally and physically very low. Mm-hmm. And I needed a big goal. I needed something to pull me out of those depths and something to focus on. My headaches started to subside, and it popped up on my Instagram.
Oh, really?
Just this event. So in the past, I've done sprint triathlons, I've done a half marathon, none of them very successfully, but I love having something to reach for.
Yeah.
And in those triathlons, I figured out I really hate swimming, and I really don't like running. And I'm not that great on the bike, but I was doing them anyways because it was something to do, right?
Yeah.
So when this endurance event, ultra endurance event, because it's 2 sunrises, when this came across my Instagram feed, I thought, this is exactly for me. I love hiking, so finally doing a challenge that works for my mental state.
Yes.
And it's a real push, right? Something that was going to test me physically and mentally.
Yes, absolutely. So you were at a point where there were some things going on for you physically, and you decided, I'm going to sign up for something that will get me out of my comfort zone, will push me, will just shake up things in my life.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about the challenge. You flew to Utah, and you got there, and there's a big mountain here.
so much bigger in person. Yes, so the event, it's a corporation, or it's a small business really that puts on these events in 5 different locations throughout the U.S. and one in Canada. They know what they're doing. One of the things that was so apparent just walking in the door was the culture of the place.
Nice.
Everybody was positive. What can I do for you? How can we make this great? But getting there, yeah, we see there's a tent city. So they put us up in glamping tents, the big yurt style things.
Sure.
And so that's laid out 115 tents or something in front of us, and then a beautiful lodge because it's at a ski hill. And yeah, then you look out the window and you see this hill, and I thought to myself, this is way bigger than the Butte, which was my training mountain.
Right.
So lots of trepidation, lots of nerves. I couldn't eat. My stomach was doing flip-flops. And I wasn't sure that I was prepared for it at that time.
I can imagine that must have been like super intimidating.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the time of signing up for this event, where was your fitness level then?
Well, after 2 years of migraines, it was practically zero.
Got it.
So yeah, I had no muscle tone left. Struggling like that for as long as I did. I was on the couch for that entire time. So started at zero.
So started at zero.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing about the event is it is so supported, not just on the day, but the entire time from the day that you sign up, which is 7 months beforehand. So they provided all of us with a 20-week training plan. And there were tiers within that training plan. So you could be tier 1, which was me, couch to Everest. Tier 2, you're a little bit more fit. Tier 3, you're already an endurance athlete. And tier 4, you've got it. You probably don't even need to train.
Got it.
So I was tier 1. I started at the bottom. Yeah.
Wow.
And it just started with 30-minute hikes and a little bit in the gym. And it every single week increased in duration and intensity all the way to the end where we were doing 10-hour training hikes on the weekends.
Whoa, 10-hour training hikes. And that's, I remember, I think you posted a picture one time of your training calendar, and it was just like solid, everything was filled up. There was something every day or almost every day.
Almost, yeah, about 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And the coolest part about that calendar is if I were to have done one the year or the 2 years before, it would have been blank. So having that visual representation of the work that I was doing was so motivating to me because I never wanted to break my consistency. I always wanted to keep putting something on that list instead of a big red X.
Yeah, and you know what's also neat about that is when the day has passed and you've done that, I mean, what a great feeling to go, wow, I've done all of this in these past few weeks or whatever, right? Yeah, really, really neat. Who'd you have helping you? I mean, because this type of intense training, it's challenging to just do it on your own. So tell me a little bit about some of the support you had.
The training I did on my own.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
And that was people around me were not ready to be able to jump in and do 10-hour hikes, right? So those were things that I had to do physically on my own. But I had a lot of support in my friends and my husband cheering me on, picking me up at the top of the butte and driving me back down so I could hike up again.
Oh, right on.
Understanding with people around me that I was so singularly focused. So I had to dial back socially. I quit drinking so I could be fresh every morning. And so where my relationships could have suffered, they didn't because people were so supportive of what I was trying to do.
Wow, what a wonderful opportunity to experience that in your life, right? That level of support. That's really cool. Did you, so you were doing some trainings on the Butte in Chelan, and you'd go up, and someone would give you a ride down, you'd go up again. What other type of training? Because I think I saw that you were working with Jen Bordner, right?
Yep.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Body by Jen, she's the best.
Body by Jen.
Yeah, so 2 days a week we did weight training. And that was so important, especially starting from the couch, you know, to build not just my endurance in my lungs, but also my legs, my glutes. So we did so much lower body, so many deadlifts, so many squats. And she was instrumental because it is very easy to not want to go to the gym.
Oh,
I think,
gosh.
as you know,
Yes,
right?
I do.
This is an affliction you suffer from also. But having someone there with such a positive attitude, it got me out the door. And being able to laugh with someone as I was struggling through my lifts, and also having somebody kind of keep track of what I've been doing. So I didn't have to mentally think about, okay, what's my program today? I just walk in the door, Jen says, okay, great, this is what we're doing. And an hour later, I felt wonderful and tired and stronger.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good combo. Tired and stronger.
Yeah.
Right? And then also, I imagine that also gave you an opportunity to witness growth. And
Oh my gosh.
Like you were feeling and could see that you're getting stronger,
Yeah.
yes?
Yes. But she took a few pictures along the way. So starting at the beginning, I was a little soft, you know, baggy clothes. And by the end, even people in the gym were making comments, not about, oh, you look better, but look at your confidence. Look at how strong you look. Oh, look, you're in a sleeveless shirt today. You must be feeling good, right?
Right, yeah.
So those were big milestones that I didn't notice on my own, but the people around me did. It was pretty cool.
So good to have a high level of accountability, right?
Yes.
And I know that's important to Jen too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when we commit to somebody else, when we ask them to hold us accountable, that's an opportunity for us to really begin to see transformation in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, very valuable. You know, we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
But I want to have a lot more questions, so we're gonna come back. Stay with us. We'll be back with Ottie McClellan. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad you're in this conversation. We are talking today with Ottie McClellan, who just recently completed 29029 Everest, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Close.
Close, okay.
29029 Everesting.
Everesting, got it,
yeah.
okay. All right, so first of all, did you do this by yourself or did you do it with a partner?
So I did the hike by myself, and there were a lot of people on the mountain that did this with mothers, daughters, best friends. I was a solo hiker, but I had a gondola Sherpa.
Cool.
So one of the things that really made the event for me was my husband being there. And he was not allowed on the course, but he was allowed on the gondola.
That's so cool.
Yes. And so he would meet me at the top. I'd send him a text message about 10 minutes before I'd get there. He'd get on the gondola, ride to the top, and then he found this little place in the rocks that he would hide because the security men didn't like him being there. And then he'd start waving and videoing, and so he'd meet me at the top. What do you need? Do you need water? What kind of fuel do you want? Do you want something sweet or sour or hot or cold? And then he'd ride the 15-minute gondola ride down with me and give me pep talks, sometimes that I wanted and sometimes that I didn't. And he'd set me up at the base of the mountain and send me off again.
Oh, wow.
It was so great, something to really look forward to in those brutal moments.
Yeah, what a beautiful story. And those are going to be memories you guys treasure forever.
Yes,
right?
100%.
What a great bonding experience. So, in doing all of this, what was one of the hardest parts for you?
So I have never done organized sports before. In school, it didn't work out for me. And all through college, obviously, I went to college as a grown-up, so I wasn't doing athletics at that point in my life either. And the sprint tries and the half marathons are, those are 3 hours. It's nothing like 36 hours straight.
Yeah, and let's just pause there because I don't think we said that yet. This was a 36-hour event.
Yes. So we are endeavoring to climb to the vertical feet of Everest, 29,000 feet. You have 36 hours to complete it. So you either go 36 hours or you take a break like I had to. But when 5 o'clock hits, you're done. So that's it. So the hardest part for me was hitting that, what I felt like was my physical limit.
Yeah.
And then finding a way to push past it.
Oh, yeah.
So we say all the time, right, that your body is capable of way more than your brain thinks it's capable of. And I had never experienced that before. And I say it all the time. I teach yoga, right? So I'm forever telling people, your body's got this. Tell your brain to shut up. And finally, I had to have that same conversation with myself. And Russ, thankfully, was there too. But after about 4 laps, I was toast. It was so much steeper than I anticipated, even though I trained so hard.
Yeah.
And one of the big challenges in endurance events is that you have to fuel as you're going.
Yep.
So it's not like you can carbo load the night before and you're good for 36 hours. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So trying to take in food that hits your tummy in a good way, and water, yes, but definitely electrolytes, because clearly you're sweating. It was 90 degrees the day that I did this.
Whoa.
So I had a really upset stomach. My brain was playing tricks on me, and I quite literally found a picnic table and went underneath it and laid down, a little off to the side from the rest of the crowd. And again, my coach, my husband, was so good about just take a break. It's not you're done. You're just taking a break. Take an hour, take 2 hours, whatever it takes. So I crawled my way under the picnic table and was crying, so many tears in this event. And it was just a switch flipped in my mind, just out of nowhere. And I just got up and I said, okay, I can't just lay here for the next, 20 hours. I got to keep going. And so I did. I got up, I had another bite to eat, and back up the mountain I went. But that portion of time, those, whatever it was, 90 minutes, 2 hours, where I was just struggling in my mind to convince myself to keep going. Even though I knew I was going to keep going, I had to still convince myself. So that was far and away the hardest part. It wasn't the physicality of it, which I don't want to diminish, was super challenging.
I'm sure.
But telling my brain, arguing with my brain and saying, it's time to keep going. And then doing that was my biggest win, I think, of the whole event.
Yes, literally mind over matter. I mean, and I love that you had this experience. I love that you got to come face to face with yourself and make a decision to go beyond what your mind said you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like few people get to that point.
Right.
And it's a beautiful experience because what you discover about yourself is so rich.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I did that. Gosh, what else can I do? Right? What else am I capable of? Right? Have I been playing a small game?
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm excited for you. Are you glad you did it?
I'm so proud that I did it.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so glad I did it. And to the point that you just made, I feel like the world is my oyster now. I feel like there's nothing that I can't do if I put in the proper preparation and training and set my mind to it.
Yeah, big deal. I've had similar experiences, and one of the things that, as a result of going beyond what you think you're capable of doing, what I am present to now are the excuses that my brain is ready to make for me.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I see them. Whereas years ago I may have believed these excuses and I thought they were totally real.
Yes.
I just see them and hear them now and I'm like, I mean, I still may give in to them, but I am not fooling myself I know they are excuses.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Can you relate to that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course. I'm every day. Even this morning, I had a snafu getting out of the house, right? I wanted to leave at a certain time, and I didn't quite make it, and I allowed myself to be so angry about the dumbest thing until I had that conversation with myself. Like, no, this is fine. I don't need to react this way. I can choose how I react. And once I had that internal dialogue with myself, it got better.
Yeah, right. You had the conversation of like, who's in control here? Oh yeah, I am. Not my mind, but I'm in control.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. What you're talking about is this sense of empowerment. And you and I have talked about this in the past, but just as a refresher, the only time that we can feel truly empowered in our life, that sense of like, like I've got this energy in me, is when we take responsibility for the commitments that we've made. And the greater the commitment that you make, it will require you to take greater responsibility, and as a result, you feel that much more empowered.
Yes.
You made a massive commitment. It required massive responsibility, which you showed up for, and as a result, you get to experience that level of empowerment.
Yeah.
And that's just, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. So, is there anything that's next on the horizon?
I'm doing it again.
You are doing it again?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I'm going to rewind 1 second. First
Okay.
of all, what I'm going to start doing is, it's called spacewalking.
Oh, I don't know what this is.
Right, so we already endeavored to climb to Everest. Why not space?
Okay.
It's 334,000 feet is when space starts above the Earth.
Sure, yes.
And so usually in athletics, we measure miles, right? Miles forward.
Yes.
Now we're measuring elevation
Interesting.
to space.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So what does this look like?
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
But I just read about it about 2 days ago, and I thought, this is the next thing. So I'm just going to start trying to find things to climb.
Oh gosh, I can't wait to hear about these next adventures.
I know. But also, yes. So the first 2 days after you do a 29:029 event, you do not think you're doing it again. The lethargy that comes with exerting yourself like that is like no other.
Yes.
And then many of us, because I've been commiserating with my fellow 29:029ers, we hit a mental spot where it's a little bit of a depression. Well, now what?
Yes.
I've been so singularly focused for at least 5 months, but for me longer because I started from the couch. And then what? I had a hard time getting back into the gym. I tried to go for a hike. I was so tired. I turned around. And the only way for me to beat that was to commit to doing it again.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That is so inspiring. That really is inspiring. We have to wrap it up, but I want to say thank you for bringing that inspiration, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And now you know what it's time to do. It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer, and I believe in you.